Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting. Welcome to Ascending with Venus Castleberg, a space where we explore the journey of spiritual awakening, expanding your consciousness and raising your frequency to create a whole new world. We'll dive into the possibilities that open up when you choose to follow the whispers and trust your inner knowing. Each episode is designed to guide you in expanding your awareness, tuning into your intuition, and discovering the magic of your life every day. We'll talk about living aligned with your soul's purpose, going beyond limitations, and creating a life and a world worth celebrating. You are here to embrace who you truly are and step into the infinite potential that's waiting for you. Let's ascend together. And now, here is your host, Venus Castleberg.
Hello, everyone, and happy New Year's Eve. Happy to be here with y'all. If you are here, please say hi. I love knowing that I'm actually talking to some people out there, but it's really nice to have you. We just had a live webinar, Bloom Where You're Planted. And if you missed it and you have interest in it, you can still sign up and get the replay. But it was an awesome conversation about choosing to bloom wherever you're planted. Because sometimes we're planted in places or we're going through things that maybe we don't like so much. Hi, Kelly. Welcome. Hi, Simon. So as always, happy to have you here. And if you can catch that replay, would love for you to check it out. I think you might enjoy that as well. But today, of course, how the dark night of the soul. Well, let's just put it this way. Let's talk about dark night of the soul and spiritual awakening and how they're often the same thing. And they often definitely piggyback off of each other. Hi, Radiant. It's nice to have you. Radiant Shadow. I like it. That's cool. Hi, Bob. Nice to see you. Again, Bob was on the other one too. So, and the webinars are fun for me because I actually get to see people's faces. And I'm not just looking at my own all the time. So, like I said, I love your comments. I love your questions. If you have questions today, you can call in 202-570-7057. I know I said that fast, but we will put it in the comments so you can actually call in and talk to me yourself if you'd like to. Hi, Miriam. Welcome. And this is a topic. Well, it's common curiosity. I did learn something for myself over my spiritual journey. Dark night of the soul, spiritual awakening isn't limited to just once. Did you know that? I had the privilege, have had the privilege of going through a spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul twice. Not the funnest thing to go through. It's definitely can be very challenging for some. Doesn't have to be for everyone. And you don't necessarily have to go through it, and you don't have to create it for yourself. In the old days, dark night of the soul was actually created. They did do things to trigger dark night of the soul. They would lock themselves in a dark room. Some of them would even lock themselves in a coffin. I don't recommend it. Please don't go try searching for the dark night of the soul. This is for people who are either going through it or have gone through it and are like just looking to know that you're not crazy or you weren't crazy. So what happens is it's a time of shifting from an ego perspective to a spiritual awakening. Basically, letting go of some portion of your ego. I'm not going to say you're going to let go of all of it at once. Like I said, I went through it twice. So, and I might have gone through it even more than that, but like twice where I can look back and go, okay, I know what was going on. And there was a visceral, physical, emotional, spiritual, mental death happening of the ego. But that death of the ego helped me get a deeper, more profound, much lighter, much easier connection to source, to the divine. Oh, hi, Simon. Thank you. So connecting with the source, with whatever you believe in, could be, hi, Jeannie. Nice to have you from Boulder, Colorado. That to have this more light connection with source, that is not what you feel when you're going through a dark night of the soul. Dark night of the soul, often you feel lost, disconnected. I'm a clairvoyant medium, so I see spirits, I connect with spirits on a regular basis. And when I'm going through dark night of the soul, it's like crickets. It's quiet. It's like nothing. I'm like, where'd y'all go? So like I said, going through it when you're in it, it's not necessarily fun. It's you can feel very, like I said, disconnected. A word that I used a lot was lost. So a little history I can tell you about both of mine, but the first one I had, I know what triggered it was I became a clairvoyant medium. I could see spirits, I could see ghosts, I could see aliens, I could see some of it with my physical eyes, some of it with my spiritual eyes, but I could see a lot, right? And that awakening in me, spiritual awakening is sometimes what it's called, triggered a dark night of the soul. Partially because I had just come from 10 years of partying like a rock star, dancing, it was all about drugs, alcohol. And coming from that life of ego, right, to this now spiritual awakening, wow, there's a lot more to life than I thought there was, because now I see beings. This was after I had quit drugs and alcohol. So I knew it wasn't the alcohol or drugs triggering it. And then to go from that to suddenly now I can see the spirit realm and I can talk to my team, and that made me think I was going crazy. So when you go through a spontaneous spiritual awakening, a lot of times people are like, am I going crazy? What's happening? Right? So that spontaneous spiritual awakening can then sometimes lead to a dark night of the soul when it's very different from your life before, right? So some people have a spontaneous spiritual awakening when they lose a loved one. And when they lose a loved one, that's very sad. And then suddenly you're like, connected to the spirit realm. Well, this is something that I had shared on Bloom today, but I would like to encourage everyone, and I'll tell you more about my spiritual awakening, but there's something here that I think is really important to remember. Your spiritual awakening is for you. It's not necessarily for you to now go out and serve others, or for you to go out and to change other people's lives with it, or to tell everybody in your life that this is happening. So, but we have this misconception that that's what you're supposed to do. Like, oh, you have this spiritual awakening, now you're supposed to go tell everybody about it. I recommend you don't do that. And to consider that your spiritual awakening is happening because there's something inside of you that needed to change. So I was very, I had a religious kind of, sort of religious background. And then my dad died when I was 18. And for 10 years, I grieved my dad, and I was afraid that he went to hell. When I had this spiritual awakening, all my beliefs of heaven and hell went away. Now, I'm not trying to change your beliefs. If you still believe in that, that's up to you. But this was my awakening. And my awakening was to realize that there was no heaven and hell, and that my dad was not suffering in hell. But actually had gone on and gotten another body and, was living a life. So but me becoming a clairvoyant medium wasn't necessarily about everybody else. Now, since this was 23 years ago, 22 years ago, since then, I do help other people with their spiritual awakenings. That's part of what I have chosen to do with my life, and I love it. But that's not what it was really about in the beginning, right? So when you're having these sorts of aha moments, or these moments that are changing you at your very core, I would recommend not telling anybody that you're going through that, and just go through it between you and the divine, you and the universe, right? And connect in to whatever that change is, whatever that blossoming is happening within you. I use this as an example in the Bloom webinar, but it's such a good one. So when Leonardo da Vinci was doing the statue of David, it was a block of marble. And then when he was done, it was the statue of David. And the statue of David, they asked Leonardo da Vinci, how did you create such a masterpiece? And he said, I just took away everything that was not David. Consider that whatever you're going through right now is taking away anything that's not you. Or if you're going through dark night of the soul or some sort of spiritual awakening, there's pieces of you that's not really you, right? So my ego days, ego party days in my 20s, that wasn't really me. That was actually me doing a lot of trying to escape me, because I didn't really like me back then, right? So then, like, taking away all those things that weren't me allowed me to get more present to what was me, and to have peace within myself also from losing my dad, right? But there was this new knowing that life goes on. Life doesn't end. The physical body dies, but life doesn't end. And then this knowing that I wasn't alone. And then this knowing that the divine is there for me. Call it Father, Mother, God, the earth, nature, whatever it is for you, right? For me, I call it the divine, but that's just because I don't believe it's gender, that there's a gender necessarily. So it's God, goddess, whatever. So anyway, sorry, some people are commenting here, and I don't want to lose it. Thank you. Breaking down in order to break through. Absolutely. Yep. I've experienced crickets, but didn't understand why. I appreciate your hearing insights and experience and insights. You are so welcome. Does waving a black flag mean anything to you? I feel your aunt is showing me this. Oh, okay. Agree. I'm neither closer to the future or farther away from our creator. Cool. 4%. Peace within yourself. Yeah, it really does. And I'm going to tell you a little trick. So you might be going through something like this too. And if you're going through something like where it feels like you're lost in the dark and there is no light, my dark night of the soul lasted the longest when I resisted the new gifts, capacities, awareness that I had. So yes, I had this new awareness when I turned 30, came on pretty much overnight. And then I resisted it for 3 years. And I started getting more and more depressed. And then when I finally surrendered and said, okay, universe, divine, I now have this gifting capacity for a reason, and I'm going to lean into it and accept it. I didn't then go feel like I had to go tell everyone. I did tell one person that I needed to tell, but that was because it was causing a rift between me and my mom. And my mom and I had always been close growing up. And then for 3 years, I didn't talk to her much because I was afraid of what she might think. And so I did tell her. And then she said, well, some of it surprises me and some of it doesn't. Did you think I wouldn't love you anyway? And I said, I guess I did. But come to find out that apparently that these gifts and capacities are like in my family. I'm like, what? Nobody told me that. So, and it's not limited to. So if you're watching this and you're like, I don't really have any gifts and capacities, you do, and you can. Just ask for them. Me having them spontaneously come on when I was 30 was because I was asking for something different. I didn't really think I was asking for that per se, but you can't really choose your gifts, I guess. I did ask if I could return it, but they didn't take it back. So, but resisting the resistance, and then also sometimes the resistance comes from feeling like you're supposed to then go tell everybody or do something with it. That's not true. All you need to do is surrender to it and accept that awareness for you. And then if someday it's in your cards to contribute to others on their path, then you'll choose that when you're ready. But you don't have to force that and then become that. It's like your awakening is unique to you, and it's not always fun, and it's not bubblegum rainbows and unicorns for everyone. Some people do have bubblegum unicorns and rainbows, but a lot of us don't. And when you have it, it's for you. It's to help you on your path. It's not so that now you go out and save the world with it. Now, don't get me wrong. I think if it's someday you feel called to contribute to others with it, cool. But you don't have to. It's not a have to. It's not a need to. And I definitely wouldn't tell people in your life that won't receive it, because it's between you and God. It's between you and Source. It's between you and the universe. And keep it to yourself, just for you, just for fun, and never tell anyone. That's my number one recommendation. Well, that's probably number two. Number one would be receive it. Be okay with it. Lean into it. Ask what's right about this I'm not getting. Ask what's the beauty underneath this. These are questions that you can ask when you're going through the darkness and the challenges and the not sure what you're doing with your life. Maybe that's just you're like, I thought I had a purpose, or I had a mission, or I had a plan for my life, and it's not working out that way. That can also feel very dark, right? So just being okay with where you are and leaning into it, meaning things that I would recommend during these times, definitely meditation, quiet reflection, relax. Don't feel like you have to force things. If you need to rest, if you need to sleep, sleep. If you need to take a bath, take a bath. Not from you need to take a bath because you smell, but take a bath because it's relaxing, and it might actually contribute to creating some ease for you. Drink lots of water. That I always find water really helps my vibration and my frequency. And so when you're drinking water, you're 80%, 90% water. Can't remember the exact number, but when you're drinking water, it helps create that higher frequency. And just be extremely patient and have a ton of allowance for yourself. Like, just be kind to yourself, just like you would a child. You would be kind to a child going through something, being sick or struggling or whatever they were going through. You would just have allowance for them, right? So why not have allowance for you with whatever you're going through? And when I say lean in, it's like be willing to look at it. Be willing to look at when something's coming up for you. Like, what are you resisting? Maybe you could ask that question. Is there some awareness that I'm resisting or some knowledge that I'm resisting? I just instinctively knew that after 3 years of resisting becoming a psychic medium, that I needed to lean into that. Now, granted, the way that I did it was I went on a vision quest to Sedona, Arizona, stayed with a family friend, and he took me around and showed and introduced me to a bunch of people who were spiritually gifted in their own way. And some of them, have gifts that I don't want. And, some of them were cool and some of them were like, yeah, no, I'm good. And I did a sweat lodge and but I did some things to help change my mindset around what I was now aware of and what I could now do. So what can you do to change your mindset, to lean in, to lower your walls and barriers, to allow yourself to become more aware of everything around you? When I became more aware and I allowed myself to have my awareness, I started having like more dialogue with my spiritual team. I had like lots of like intuitive whispers and magic start happening and miracles, things that, you would think. So for instance, just a miracle that you can count, right? Like let's say you lose something, like you have something and then you really like it and then you lose it and then you find it again. That's a miracle, right? That's the magic in the moment that you can enjoy when you're not trying to fight against awareness and the changes that are happening. I think ever since COVID, we've been going through a big change, right? Have you all felt it? But it's so much easier when we can go with the flow of the changes instead of the like somehow it's wrong. It should be this way. I would love to say that it's always going to be easy. Unfortunately, it's not always easy. You can have ease with the changes, but it doesn't mean it's easy, right? It's never easy to lose somebody you love. It's never easy to spontaneously become a clairvoyant medium. I mean, maybe for some people, but it wasn't for me, right? So, but just allowing yourself to be okay with, okay, there's something is changing. With all the things that are not me are getting removed so that I can be more of me, so I can have a more enjoyable life. The universe wants you to have an enjoyable life, a fun life, filled with purpose if you want purpose, filled with joy, filled with laughter, filled with being of service if that's something that's fun for you, right? The universe wants you to have everything that you desire and even things that you don't know that you desire. But sometimes the things that are not us have to be removed to make room for what is us. So, for instance, the ego, right? It's funny to me that both times in my spiritual awakenings actually had to do with aliens, believe it or not. So my very first spiritual awakening and then Dark Night of the Soul came from, I had a friend show me spaceships in the middle of the day in between clouds, and there was literally 3 of them like flew one right after the other. And right as soon as he pointed up, and I just thought, I'd always known that there was life on other planets and aliens. That just made sense to me. But to see spaceships just flying around up there randomly, I'm like, what are we, like an ant farm and they're just watching us? But what I came to learn was that they're not allowed to interfere with our evolution. So they have to keep their distance and let us evolve on our own. And then seeing, I also was training my physical sight to see, and I was in church, obviously not paying attention to what was being said. And I was practicing seeing with my physical eyes, and a little pink alien showed up with big eyes. And I was just like, my friend sitting next to me, I'm like, there's a pink alien here. And he's like, yeah, that's grandma. I still don't, to this day, know why he called her grandma. I don't think I ever asked him. I always thought that was interesting. But that was a start. And then shortly thereafter became, clairvoyant medium, and I could see ghosts and entities. It was just like this 6 months to a year of crazy, energy and awareness, new awareness, and then resisting all of that for 3 years. I was like, yeah, don't want to be the crazy lady. I didn't want to be the one that, people talked about. And I had 10 cats or whatever. I have nothing against, I have animals, but I don't have 10 of them. I have 1 cat and 1 dog. But so what? So what if we have 10 cats? Again, why are we so worried about what other people think? It's about being at peace with ourselves. And then the second Dark Night of the Soul came when I started channeling an alien race. They're called the Collective, and I believe they're from Sirius. But yeah, I just think it's just funny, right? Because it's like these things happen, and then we go into like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want that gift, or I don't want that capacity, or I don't want to be able to do that. And then it's like, why do we resist things that only bring us closer to the divine and only bring us closer to source? I wonder. Interesting thought that I will leave you with just for a couple of minutes. We take a quick break right now, and then we'll come back. I look forward to seeing you on the other side.
Om Times TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
So, welcome forward, everyone. So, you're, let's see, where was I? I think that's good, actually. If you have questions, you can post them in the chat. You can also call me, 202-570-7057. And we can talk about it. Anything that you might be going through that you have questions about, you're totally welcome. But I think right now what I'm feeling led to do is to do just a little guided visualization, maybe to just help us move through whatever challenges we might be going through and see and perceive and receive the light at the end of the tunnel. So if you are driving, of course, please don't close your eyes. But if you are home and you can close your eyes, we'll just relax. Sit back in your chair, maybe. Relax your shoulders down and back. Breathe in, exhale out. Breathe in, exhale out. Breathe in, exhale out. And relax. Letting go of the need to be anywhere else but here. Allowing yourself to just be in the present moment. Breathe in, exhale out. And if you haven't done so already, let's just lower the walls and barriers, even the ones we don't know about. Destroy and uncreate them. Allowing yourself to relax and be. Relax and receive. Breathe in, exhale out. Maybe relax and know that everything is working out for your highest and greatest good, even if you can't see how right now. Breathe in, exhale out. And whether you're going through this actively at the moment or you're aware that you're in kind of a weird space right now or not, we can all surrender a little bit more ego. Well, most of us. Maybe there's some of us out there that are enlightened and have no ego, which is awesome. But the ego it's not bad or wrong, but the ego is often like that need or that desire to be liked, the need for people to value us, to think good of us, to believe in us. But the truth is we don't need anybody to believe in us. We just need to believe in ourselves. You don't need somebody else's validation. You just need to validate you. And so I'm going to invite us all today to just surrender, even if it's just a small little piece of the ego. Whatever part of the ego that you're willing to surrender and let go of today. Go ahead and do that now. You can just imagine a violet flame in front of you and throw it into the violet flame. Or if you know the Access Consciousness Clarity Statement, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, poc, all 100 shorts, boys, pogads, creations, spaces, and beyonds. You can find out more at theclearingstatement.com. Breathe in, exhale out. Let go of some part that has you looking to others for any validation about yourself, who you are, what's important, what you believe. How many of your beliefs are just adopted because somebody else believes them instead of what's really true for you? If you weren't trying to make everybody like you, who would you be? What would you choose? Where would you go? How much happier would you be? Could you be? Breathe in. Exhale out. Throwing whatever you're willing to let go of into the violet flame. And allow yourself to just be present with yourself now. Just observing, not judging. Maybe you feel lighter. Maybe you feel a little more connected. Or maybe you don't feel anything at all. That's okay. Just allow yourself to be here. Not in the past in shame, regret, or guilt. Throw that in the violet flame as well. And not in the future, trying to figure out what tomorrow will bring or plan out everything so that it's perfect. It's never really perfect. Or is it always perfect? Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And just let yourself be in the moment, right here, right now. Breathe in, exhale out. Breathe in, exhale out. And if there's anything, any other levels of ego or attachment, or the right and wrong, good and bad of things, can we throw that in the violet flame? Destroy and uncreate it. Breathe in, exhale out. And I want you to imagine yourself standing at the end of a long tunnel or a long hallway. And while it might seem very far off, there is a speck of light in the distance. But you're going to imagine that you are being squeezed through a tube of toothpaste. being squeezed. And as you're being squeezed in this tunnel, you keep moving. Just just see yourself sloughing off stuff. It might be beliefs, it might be stories you've been telling yourself. It might be the belief in lack or that the universe desires for you to suffer. Just allowing yourself as you're walking through this tunnel to just slough off this stuff that is not you. Allowing all those pieces that maybe you picked up somewhere about being popular or looking good and avoiding looking bad. And just all these things where you just slough off and let let go of the old, let go of, like I said, blame, shame, regret, and guilt. Maybe some anger, rage. Yes, maybe some horrible things happen to you in your life, but are you going to keep carrying those with you? Or are you going to let them go so that you can become who you are meant to be, who you truly are? And anything and everything that you're willing to let go of today, we're just gonna take it off like too many layers of clothes. And you just take off the old clothing and the old beliefs, and you just lay them down in the tunnel as you're walking through the tunnel, letting go. And as you're letting go, you notice that light that seemed really far away at first is getting brighter and closer. But you're still just maybe having memories of times when something happened that wasn't that great, and you could just take that memory out and toss it in the tunnel. And maybe you have the violet flame that's just following you, has its own life of its own, and it's just picking up all the rubble and all the things that are not you. Maybe there's even beliefs and stories that you've told yourself about experiences that you've had in your life that aren't even true. Like maybe something happened but you made it mean something that it didn't mean. I heard a story once of a guy who put his arm around his buddy once, and just in, that like being grateful for his buddy, and his buddy like shoved his arm off. And for years he carried that with him like he had done something wrong. And then when they finally reconnected years later, he brought it up and his friend didn't even remember it. So it wasn't significant. So what significance and meaning have you added to things that maybe have happened that aren't even true? But you've been carrying them with you like a burden on your back. Just allow yourself to take off the backpacks, the rocks, the boulders, the beliefs, the stories that you've been telling yourself that don't even make you who you are, that aren't even part of who you truly are. They're just stories that you've been telling yourself. Somewhere along the line you bought that you were wrong and bad, maybe even evil. It's not true. You're you. So all those disempowering beliefs about yourself, lay those down, take those off, slough off past stuff. It's New Year's Eve, tomorrow is a new year. Anything that you've been carrying around from this year, allow yourself to just let it go. that happened. That didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Whatever it is. Maybe you had an attachment to something turning out the way that you wanted it to, and it didn't turn out that way. Just let that go. The violet flame is sweeping up after you, burning it all to ash, so that it can contribute compost to the earth and grow into something new and beautiful. And death, letting things die. Maybe there's some things in your life, relationships, or even jobs, or things that you've been doing that it's time to let them go. It's time to let them die. Just allowing yourself to take stock of what happened this year or in your past and acknowledge it. It's not about ignoring it, like, oh, that didn't happen. But okay, that happened. And now it's complete. It's in the past. And I'm moving on. So all of those things that you had an expectation of to turn out a certain way, just let that go. Throw it in the violet flame. Breathe in. Exhale out. And you're getting closer now. You're close enough to the light that you can start to smell the fresh air at the end of the tunnel. It's lighter and brighter and bigger as you get closer. But you're still just like, oh, okay, I have a little bit of discomfort in my body. Maybe something else that I'm holding on to for dear life. Maybe it's some sickness, disease, dis-ease in your body. Allowing yourself to just throw that in the violet flame. Let it go. Let go of the discomfort. Let go of the hardship, the heaviness. Breathe in. Exhale out. Anything and everything you're willing to let go of today that is no longer serving you and that is not you. Judgment is not you. This stuff still happened in life, of course. But it's not because you did something wrong or you should have done something different. And exhale out. You're so close to the opening of the tunnel now that the sun is starting to touch your face. And you can hear the birds chirping. And it's warm, comfortably warm. If there's any last remnants, maybe a tightness in your shoulder, or you don't even have to know what it is that you're letting go of. Just something that you're like, that's just not serving me anymore. It's not a contribution to me. You can throw that in the violet flame, shake it off. As you get closer to this mouth of this tunnel, I want you to notice that suddenly it seems like it's a waterfall. And in order to get to the other side, you have to walk through this waterfall. But this waterfall is gentle, warm water, and it's just purifying you, purifying your mind, your body, your spirit, washing away any of the dust, right? So you've been letting go of all those things that are not you. And now there's just this final washing away. And you step through the waterfall, feeling refreshed, like that was fun and joyful. You feel yourself shake a little with exhilaration and joy. And just feel yourself coming out the other side of this long tunnel. All that stuff you just let go of today and washing away all the impurities and everything else. And you find yourself on the other side laughing, giggling, grateful, lighter, feeling a skip in your step, like, oh, wow, let go of all that stuff. Maybe you let go of layers and layers of ego. And now there's just this brilliant being that is you on the other side. Doesn't mean you don't still have stuff. You might still have stuff. We only dealt with the stuff you were willing to let go of today, but that's okay. Let's embrace that change with gratitude. Let's be grateful for the changes that we're experiencing. Feeling yourself in a new you, a more authentic and brilliant and talented you. And as you step forward with confidence, with an air, a new, rekindled possibility that comes with a new year. We have new energies and new possibilities. And what do you want to create now? What do you want to choose now? Feel that connection to the earth, to the divine, to source. This new remembrance of who you really are. You are the divine. You are source. You are one with all things. Feel your heart blossom and bloom. Feel it open. You made it. You're the lotus flower that bloomed after going through all the mud and the muck. The mud and the muck wasn't wrong. It's part of what shaped you into the person that you are today. Breathe in, exhale out. Just allow yourself to connect with this beautiful place that is a reflection of who you really are. The sun, the birds, the trees, the earth, the joy, the lightness. The aliveness. Feel yourself. Step into thrival. Beautiful have to just survive anymore. You can now thrive and be you and be brilliant and be talented and be different and be weird. Most of all, be you. The greatest blessing of this world is simply you having ever been. Exhale out. Maybe rub your hands together, slowly opening your eyes, and just perceive and feel and know it's still you. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being you. Again, happy, happy, happy New Year's Eve. I wish that this year be greater than any of your past, but not the best one yet. The best one yet, but not the best one ever, right? So have a great New Year. I'll see you soon. Bye.